Bob in Atlanta last week called in and asked me, he said, I listened to Dennis and Julie, and you and Dennis talk a lot about this issue of depth being deep. What does that mean? And I said, I think what it means is thinking beyond stage one thinking. Tom Sowell, the great author, intellectual, has this theory that a lot of people tend to think in what he calls as in the real estate of stage one. In other words, they don't ask follow-up questions. And this is not just in the realm of politics. This is in many realms of life. They don't endeavor to kind of stretch the boundaries of their understanding of the world. And so that's just to say, something that I really take seriously and something that Dennis and I talk about all the time is, as Bob pointed out, this issue of depth. And people write into me and they ask me this question: how do I become more of a deep, curious, intellectual person? And I think there's like this kind of canon of books that you can read or things that you can do that can really set you on that process. And let me tell you, one of the biggest things that has made me a deeper person is reading the Epoch Times Life and Tradition section. Now, Epoch Times, this is not a paid endorsement. They don't even know I'm talking about them right now. I should actually approach them to see if we could advertise them on Timeless. This is a totally free of charge endorsement of the Epoch Times. That's how much I love them. This weekend, I came across an article in the Life and Tradition section that I loved. I love every one of their articles, but especially this one. And it was about floriography, or actually it's said floriography. I looked this up so I can say it right. And even though I didn't do it the first time, I did it the second time. Floriography. You're thinking, what the hell is that, right? It's the language of flowers. Bear with me. There's a writer in the Epoch Times Life and Tradition section, Marlena Fidge, and she wrote about this kind of lost art form where people used to give bouquets of flowers and they really thought about the meaning behind which flowers they were choosing. And she, in the article, profiled this book called The Language of Flowers. And it shows in the book what various flowers mean or represent. I have a photo up just from the internet of some of these definitions. You know, some flowers have connotations of beauty, of love, of death, of lust, etc., etc. And this book, The Language of Flowers, she analyzes, the author, where this is used in classical literature. So if you're reading literature and there's a flower that is mentioned or named, you can kind of figure out, okay, what's the meaning that the author's trying to convey to you? So for instance, in Shakespeare's Hamlet, there's the love interest of Hamlet named Ophelia, who turns out to be this kind of kooky woman who drowns. And in this book, The Language of Flowers, she analyzes how the garland of flowers that Ophelia wore when she was going to drown herself were symbolic of her personality traits, of her impending death. Like all the different flowers that were on there kind of represented these various things. And so this author ended this short Life and Tradition section article by saying, quote, "Remember that nothing is small in the eyes of God. Do all you do with love." So essentially what she's encouraging us to do is perhaps the next time we give people flowers to think about what the symbol or the meaning might be behind those flowers. Now look, not everybody is the flower symbolism type. I don't know, maybe you are, misinformation. You don't strike me as someone who may be interested in that kind of stuff. Maybe because you're a guy, maybe this is more of a chick flick thing to think more about the symbolism of flowers. You're looking offended.
Judge not, lest you be judged, Ruth.
I'm just saying.
I have a favorite flower.
You do? What is it?
Yeah, all-purpose flower.
Okay. That's so funny. I would agree. That's one of my favorite flowers, too. You're witty. You are quite witty, my friend. We need to get a sound effect. Ba-doom. But, you know, obviously not everybody's the type to be into this kind of stuff. But I think there's a takeaway from that article that I really appreciated. And it's this idea that in life, we should endeavor to imbue things with more meaning. And I'll give you another example of something I came across recently. I'm very close friends, as many of you who watch and listen to this show, and also Dennis and Julie, with Robert Florzak, who's this great artist, art historian. And he the other day was telling me that he gets his wife certain anniversary gifts depending on the year and depending on this Germanic tradition from the 16th century, which holds that depending on the year of your anniversary, you have different materials of gifts that you should give your spouse. So we're going to pull up just a photo of that. It's picture 3. The first anniversary, you get her paper. Second anniversary, something made out of cotton. The point isn't to like hand your wife a sheet of paper, but maybe a book. Third anniversary, leather, fruit or flowers, etc. Now, this is obviously something that's antiquated, but Robert really abides by that. Now, he's up in like the, 18th or 19th anniversary, and you can see as it goes on, it, I think, progressively gets better and better with the gifts. No offense.
Steel?
I know. I was going to say.
Steel?
No offense to this Germanic tradition. If my husband on our second anniversary got me something that was made out of cotton, I would probably use that cotton object to slap him in the face and tell him to get me some jewelry. But the point is, that's a very kind of fun, detail-oriented, thoughtful, tradition-abiding way of living life. I just think that's cool. And I think it's something that we should all endeavor to do. Obviously, again, not everybody's the type to go out and go, oh, I'm going to give this woman a sunflower because sunflowers represent, lust, or I'm going to get my wife cotton on the second anniversary. But just finding different ways to imbue life more meaning. I'll give a final, more practical example, perhaps.
China.
Oh, which one is that?
Oh, the plates.
Yeah, that...
Sorry.
That I'd be fine with on a first or second anniversary. Yeah, you have porcelain, fire, water, 22nd anniversary water. It's kind of boring. Stone on the 24th. Oh, oy vey. Maybe as time goes on, they don't progressively get better. But I'll give you another example that's more practical. As I get older, and I, went away to college, moved out of my parents' house, I'm living in my own apartment now, I find that I am not as good as celebrating holidays as I was when I was younger. And I am so grateful to my parents for many reasons. One of them being that they really did up holidays when we were little, not just with, Santa and the gifts under the tree, but decorating the house. And I remember we had this big calendar that we would kind of hang on our kitchen wall, and it had the 12 days of Christmas, and you pulled it out and you got a little fun gift, even if it was just a Kit Kat or a Hershey's Kiss. Like, they really made things magical. They decorate for the 4th of July, all of these American flags out in front of our house. They would decorate our house for Thanksgiving, and it was so fun because every few months you had something that was enchanting in your house, and your house was kind of transformed, and it really put you in the spirit of the holiday. And as I said, now that I'm older and I'm living in my own apartment, when Thanksgiving or Christmas time rolled around, I'd be out shopping at the local grocery store and I'd see some lights on sale or some ornaments or something, and I'd look at the price and I go $5.99 or $15.99. I'm not going to buy that. This is only, another week, another 2 weeks. So I'm going to spend, $20 to $30 on all of these decorations that I'm only going to have up in my apartment for 2 weeks. And so I've noticed I haven't done any of that. No. That's the wrong way to look at things. And I'm telling you, as weird as it sounds, this flower article in the Epoch Times kind of spurred this realization in me that we should endeavor to make things in life more meaningful, more intentional, pay more attention to detail.